Kathy Humphrey, and I serve as the Senior Vice Chancellor for Engagement, and I am the Chief of Staff for the University of Pittsburgh. And on behalf of our Chancellor, Patrick Gallagher, and the entire university community, I want to share with you how elated we are to welcome you to the launch of today of the Western Pennsylvania Regional Data Center. I think we can all agree that the Regional Data Center will be a tremendous benefit to the entire Western Pennsylvania region. And so I would like to sincerely thank the people and organizations who made this possible. First, Scott Izzo and the Richard King Mellon Foundation. Second, the Digital Scholarship Services team with the University of Pittsburgh Hillman Library. And third, Laura Hillock, who is with our Office of General Counsel for all of the legal agreements that we had to complete in order to make the data center happen. Thanks also goes out to the mayor and the county executive. Without the support of these esteemed individuals and institutions, we would not be here today. I'd also like to thank the organizers of the Greater Pittsburgh Nonprofit Partnership. Your civic vision and advocacy is inspiring, and Western Pennsylvania profits from your continued work with our region's nonprofits. Again, we are excited because this partnership supports the university's mission of advancing development and innovation. As you know, we live in a world and a region being transformed by data. At the University of Pittsburgh Hillman Library, our Digital Scholarship Services Group is dedicated to the cause of data management and advocating for accessing data. If you need help creating a data management plan, describing your data, making it accessible, or formatting it, they can help you. They are willing to help you. They are excited to extend our hand. They are committed to opening up a dialogue about our academic access. And through initiatives and programming like Open Access at Pitt, they began making a push to raise awareness about data sharing within the University of Pittsburgh and our regional operations and partnerships. In addition, for more than 3 years, the university, through its Center for Social and Urban Research, has been providing support for Mike Blackhurst, who has been working with the data center to develop collaborations around open data with government and nonprofit and academic communities. We are fortunate to have Mike, who has also been involved with similar work at the National Neighborhood Indicator Partnership. With the help of people like Mike and other data professionals at Carnegie Mellon University, we can really make this project a great success. It goes without saying that we at the University of Pittsburgh are honored to be involved in this project, a project of this magnitude that gathers so many of us. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you so much for partnering with us always. And now it is my honor to introduce our Allegheny County Executive, Rich Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you for your support and your participation, your cooperation. And I do want to thank Chancellor Gallagher for his continued support in doing this. The University of Pittsburgh has just been an absolutely terrific partner. Bob and all the guys who've worked on this have just been fantastic. And Kathy mentioned, you know, the CMU as well, the R.K. Mellon Foundation, and their willingness to support this. You know, this idea that the mayor and I have. Let me go back a little bit in history. I'm finishing 4 years of being the county executive, and this started actually when County Manager McCain came on board in late 2012, early 2013, and talked about how are we making decisions in the county? What kind of database are we using to pave roads and do health department decisions and all the decisions that we made? we didn't really have any very good decisions. So the county manager wanted to look and see best practices around the country, and he went to places like Baltimore and New York City where they were using something called city stats to make, again, data-driven decisions. Well, at the same time, there was a city councilman in the city of Pittsburgh who was about to become mayor who kind of had a lot of the same ideas. How do we pave roads? How do we do building permits? How do we do police deployment, public safety decisions, et cetera? So, I mean, people know that the mayor and I work together on a whole lot of things, but this is something that we really wanted to sink our teeth into to make sure that as government policymakers, we're making decisions that make sense. Not because maybe it's driven in the media on a story about a pothole or somebody yells the loudest or has the most, quote, political clout to get a bus route or to get, a road paved. How do we make data-driven decisions? So we set about, on this course to bring all of the experts in our administrations to figure out how to do this. And there were a lot of people that did a lot of work. I also want to acknowledge Councilwoman Natalia Rudiak is here, who sponsored the legislation in City Council dealing with open data. So there's been a lot of partners who have come together. And, the mayor and I get to stand here and cut ribbons or, announce big initiatives. And that's we're glad to do that. But our staffs really spent a lot of time. And I want to acknowledge some of them today because they don't always get their names recognized, but they deserve to be. I mentioned County Manager McCain, Deputy County Manager Bob Parise, my Chief of Staff Jennifer Liptak, and they met with the Mayor's Chief of Staff Kevin Acklin and Director of Operations Guy Costa and Deb Lamb, who can't be here today. She's having a baby. I don't know. Is that an excuse to miss work? I'm not sure about that. So and Deb's probably still doing work at her computer and doing things, but these folks really put a lot of work there. Laura Mikesel as well, and others. And I know I'm probably missing them. Bill, whoever I miss, you got to make sure you do that.
I got it.
But there's so many opportunities here, not just for the city and the county to improve decision making and policy making and data that we collect, but for all the entities out there, nonprofit entities, other municipal governments, other authorities and agencies in the region. And to have what Pitt's doing at UXER and their partnership is really terrific. And again, I want to thank those folks. Creating the shared data system is going to make it easier for us to do the collaboration we want to do, to help government be more efficient and transparent so people can see how the decisions are being made and which roads are being paved, et cetera, and allow our governments to really become models for community engagement, research, and decision making. 50 different data sets, from property assessments to sheriff sales to property sale transactions, housing and community environment inspections, election results. They have to be the right results, by the way. We make sure that occurs. No, I'm just kidding. Don't write that down. That'll be the headline, won't it? Daily, we don't manipulate the data. We transform the data. Daily census information at the jail in Canes, fatal accident, overdose data, dog license, air quality, daily summaries, plumbing inspection information, address points, beltway information, watershed basins, cemeteries, councils of governments, county council districts, county parks and facilities, dams, land use, municipal boundaries, major rivers, PA House and Senate districts, congressional districts, polling locations, voting districts, watershed boundaries, et cetera, et cetera. It's endless. The opportunities are there. And again, I think it's all of us working together. The partnership that we have is going to be very key. I also want to point out Joanne Forrester, who's leading this at the county level on our data, and the work that she's done as well with the other partners that I talked about. Let me give one example of use and how some of this could be done. And I'll talk about an organization does some great work called GTEC. GTEC stands for Growth Through Energy and Community Health. Using data, the organization has developed the Lots to Love website, which is an online resource guide for those who have an interest in transforming vacant lots in their neighborhoods into community green spaces. This interactive map on the website shows all the vacant lots across Allegheny County and provides resources to help organizations and residents build a successful successful project on the vacant lot. And the website I'll give out, it's just www.lots2love.org, so people can go on there and do those type of things. And then they can make comments about future expansion from the county perspective, other departments, Department of Human Services, information on delinquent properties, restaurant inspections. Again, the list can go on and on about all the opportunities people will have to be able to use this regional data center. It's really transformative of this region and some of the things that we're going to do. And really, none of this could be done without an innovative mayor, a progressive mayor, a mayor who continues to want to move this region forward and take us in a new direction, in a positive way to be more accountable and more transparent and better stewards to our customers, the folks that we represent. So with that, I do want to introduce the mayor, who really deserves a lot of credit for doing this, Mayor Bill Peduto.
No, thank you. Tribune Review headline tomorrow. Fitzgerald uses open data to rig elections. So, Rich is like, takes partnerships with organizations that probably haven't been in the same room or basically worked on the same platform in the past. And you look around this room, or at least I look around this room, and I see the potential of where this is going to be in just 5 years. You know, back in, and Andy, you're going to have to correct me, but I was trying to Google it before I got up. Around the 1830s or so, the United States was expanding railroad use and creating an opportunity to get from one side of the country over to the other and be able to really network a system throughout. But they were creating railroads based on different gauges. And you couldn't use the one system here to be able to get to that other system here because the size of the railroad tracks were different. And if you think about what we're talking about today, before we talk about these great leaps of city-county consolidation, the partnerships between government and our large institutions, and the nonprofits working together with all in order to really do great things for the people we serve, we got to work off the same gauge. We got to have an understanding that this is the platform by which we are able to do great things. And so we start today with one of the greatest historic days of city-county consolidation, an understanding of an open data platform to be able to do great things. And what's really incredible about it, what makes it different than most of the other open data platforms in this country, is it's not just a city doing it or a county doing it. It's a city and county that are doing it in partnership with the foundation community that saw the need and the understanding and stood up and helped to pull it all together, and then utilizing the institution of a university to be able to make it all come together. So as we look at this, and we have so many different data sets that are up there, you know, government usually is risk averse. That's just in the DNA of government. And, you know, a lot of people say you need to take more risks. You have to not be afraid to fail. But if we can provide the information that we have as government to people with entrepreneurial minds, to be able to pull together data sets that maybe not have been looked at together before, and be able to provide back to people that information, people become empowered. And when they start to feel that they have that power, they want more. They start to do more. And then you create a government truly by the people. That's what this is about. This is a very big step forward. It may seem like, well, it's just putting information out there. But right now, that information is not made available to anyone except those that work in City Hall or over in the county. Now it's going to be made available to all and to be able to utilize it to do great things. Steel City Code Fest is a good example of where that has actually happened in the past. You know, people getting together in an open data platform, much smaller than what we're talking about today, being able to utilize city information and coming up with an app called PGH Street, pgh.st if you haven't gotten it yet, which will send you a reminder to tell you whether it's recycling week or not, to let you know when bulk pickup is, to let you know when you can put out your different cuttings from the times of the year when you're either raking leaves or cutting branches. Something that is a very simple way that you don't have to try and go through that bread box or whatever you put it in your kitchen, that mailer, and try to figure out which day of the week it is. A simple app that was created in a little over a week by some entrepreneurial minds. The same thing with 412 Food Rescue. people who saw that food was being wasted, and yet there were organizations, nonprofits, that help to feed people that are hungry, and being able to put together an app that brings communities together so that that food then gets into the hands of organizations that can feed the hungry. And pulling all of that together on a very small scale of what we're talking about today. And you know the nice thing about what we're talking about today? It's just the beginning. Because now that we have that gauge to work from, imagine the information that all of your organizations have in serving people. And then imagine adding to it bus routes, and housing that's available, and opportunities for food, and opportunities for health care, and an HIV check-in point, and the opportunity to combine all of these things together to serve people simply by sitting at the desk at a computer. What a great step we're taking today. I'll give you one other example. Some kids at CMU came up with it. We know that Homewood is a very violent community right now, but we can pinpoint it using data that Chief McClay has been able to pull together to find out exactly where that violence is occurring. And then we can find children between the ages of 6 and 18 and know where they live in those homes. And as they go to Faison or as they go to Westinghouse, what is the safest route to keep them away from where violence occurs? And then we can send our firefighters out for the little ones and create a walking school bus to make sure that they're safe all the way. The power of technology will be transformative for cities around the world. And today, Pittsburgh has launched a program that is beyond what is being offered in other cities. We should be very proud of this partnership that has come together. The next phase is engaging all of you and becoming a part of it with your information so that we can all better serve the people that we're responsible to serve. Now, none of that happens, like I said, without a partnership. And we have probably the most progressive city council that we have ever had in this city. And not only progressive in the side of understanding the social needs of people, but progressive in understanding technology, data, and really, and I travel quite a bit, as the Tribune Review says. I don't know why I'm ripping on the Trib today. They've been nice to me lately. I just lost that for the next 2 months at least. But I get to meet council members from around the country. And I can tell you without doubt that the council that we have right now is one of the tops in this country in understanding all of these different parts. And it was quite an honor that the first major piece of legislation that came over from City Council back in February of 2014 was the open data legislation that helped to lead to all this. It's my honor to introduce, as we close this, the person that was behind that, Councilwoman Natalia Rudiak.
The mayor graciously pulled me up here at the last minute, so I want to thank him. I want to thank all of you for being here. And I just want to briefly mention why I am here today. So, my background, I actually come from Deloitte Consulting. I did strategy and operations. I went to the Heinz School for Public Policy. I'm actually in my 6th year of Pittsburgh City Council. I represent our southernmost neighborhoods, Carrick, Overbrook, Bon Air, Brookline, Beechview, part of Mount Washington. And when I first started, and we first started getting phone calls in the office, we got a lot of phone calls about problem properties. Now, I want you all to imagine a house, maybe a house in your neighborhood. Maybe a house that's a little rough around the edges. Let's say that the window is broken or the fire escape is falling off or something like that. That's actually a problem of the Bureau of Building Inspection. Let's say that there's trash in the yard. That's a problem of environmental services. Let's say that there's high grass. That's also building inspection. Let's say that there's animal problems. Don't get me started. If it's a groundhog, that's actually the city. If it's a rat, it may or not be the health department. If it's a roach, it's the health department. If it's a deer or turkey, that's the state. So this is how far we have to go to consolidate our data. So what was happening is that we weren't necessarily able to put together a full case study to help people, to not only help people living in those situations, but help the perpetrators that are perpetrating these situations and make our neighborhoods better. So when I first started, I remember talking to Councilman Peduto, and I was like, really? This is how we do this. You know, when I asked for a facilities list, I got a list of facilities with firehouses that maybe were closed 6 years ago. When I asked for nuisance properties, it was all piecemeal in different Excel spreadsheets from different months that didn't make sense. When I asked for capital budget needs from one department, I literally got a list in Word format with some weird tables going on. So what I am saying is, we have actually come leaps and bounds from where we have been. It's amazing. And when Mayor Peduto first became mayor, our first joint project, as he mentioned, was to really push for open data. Under the leadership of Mayor Peduto, we have an administration that's committed to transparency, that's committed to opening up government, that's committed to opening up this data, not only for council staffers and city employees, but for people themselves, so we can actually empower ourselves to help solve some of our own problems and track what's going on. So I want to thank the county executive and all of the staff at the county as well for helping us do this. And I do want to say I've attended a number of different conferences as the creator of this Open Data Bill in Council. And we have, I have to say, the best, or if not one of the best, open data pieces of legislation in the country. And we did that because of you all. Because when I put out that legislation, we put it out for public comment. We actually had like live Twitter events, and we actually, when I say we put out for public comment, we literally put it on a Google Doc for public comment. We got comments from as far as Oakland, California, and Philadelphia of people saying, you should add this, you should add this. And I think that's the kind of scale and collaboration that we really brought to the table, that we've come leaps and bounds ahead of many of our partners. This university partnership that we have is unlike any in the world. And we need to understand that that is in our own backyard. And I'm so excited of the work that we can all do together. I know that there's so much work to do. I still can't get all those data sets to help solve the problems in that one house, but that's something that we're working towards. And all the data sets that were just mentioned by County Executive Rich Fitzgerald, that's going to go a long way to helping us, at the end of the day, help people live better lives and self-actualize and reach their full potential, which is why we're all coming here together today. So thank you so much for being partners in this, and thank you for hosting this, and I'm looking forward to the launch. Thank you.
I think Bob, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I thought Bob was going to give the presentation.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's been a project that we've been working on, it seems like, for years and years and years, but it's actually been about 1.5 years that we've actually started to work on this as a concept. And I'm really glad to be here. And I know a lot of people have been thanked already, but two I'd like to call out. One is our center of the director of the University Center for Social and Urban Research, Rich Schulz, for providing me with such a good home and telling me not to stop whenever I started going down this path. And the second is Sabina Dietrich, who's been with me for the last 10 years, working on a lot of neighborhood data-related projects. And the support of UXR, the university, has just been wonderful. It's been a great place to work. And I am an urban studies grad, too, from Pitt. So, and I'm from Carrick, too. Did I mention that? And so the history that we have at the university is that we are what's called an information intermediary, and we're really proud to be part of the National Neighborhood Indicators Partnership. And I even have a little laptop sticker up here too. So it's a community of practice of over 30 cities that do what we do, help people find and use information. So if you think of it, just the analogy that I have, you're probably, why does this guy have a slide of a duck on the screen? We're kind of like in the middle of a lot of different things, floating on a river of data, helping people here represented as the boats, like find and make sense of it all. And we're going to continue to do that work, and I just wanted to put a slide of the duck on here. Oh, I forgot, man. And so over the years, we've produced a lot of different community indicators reports, mostly on PDF on our website. There you go, our neighborhood profiles. I should have put Carrick up here.
That's right.
I don't know why I didn't. We also operated a GIS server where organizations could come and make maps and data. And the way that this project worked, it was called the Pittsburgh Neighborhood and Community Information System, is organizations that wanted to share data, it would be an email or a conversation, an informal agreement that we would have that I wouldn't share it with anybody, that was going to do anything too bad. They would sometimes mail me a CD in the mail every month. sometimes send data as an email attachment. I have no skills to work with data at scale, so it was really hard to actually turn it into anything. But we managed to put stuff up on a map, not as often as we would have liked, but then people could go there after they filled out this agreement that they had to sign and fax back to us, and looked a lot like this. And once we had that, then we can go into the site and create a password, and then they could start using data after they went through a training session. So that's how we used to share data, and it worked okay. We did a lot of cool things with it, a lot of good outcomes, but it wasn't anything that we could scale. And I really wanted to really do this a lot differently and learn a lot from what was happening in a lot of other cities. And one of the things that we're going to continue to do with this project is help people use data. And some of the work that we've done, we've heard a lot of good projects, but a lot of the best projects that we've done have been with our partners in Homewood at Operation Better Block. And this is just an example of the kind of stuff that we do. This is a map of property vacancy in the neighborhood, not only vacant structures, but vacant lots. And they're using this data with support from us, and our colleague Liz Monk here as well is working on that now, to really do a block-by-block strategy for, do we demolish a property? Do we preserve a property? Do we aggregate a lot of vacant lots together and do something different with it? So having data is really kind of fundamental to doing a very targeted strategy like this. And really glad that we're going to have more of it to work with. So we're now moving into the world of open data, right? Anybody really know what open data is other than hearing about it? It's kind of a buzzword anymore. I see a few hands. There'll be a quiz later. But I'm really kind of glad you asked, even though you didn't really ask me. But it's really nothing more than a complete set of primary data made easily and permanently available. You don't have to go to a website and download 1,000 records at a time like you used to have to on our site. It's everything. You push a button, you've got 500,000 property records right at your fingertips. And so that's what open data is. It also does not contain sensitive, personally identifiable information. You know, it might have campaign finance records and things like that, but it's not going to have medical records or educational records with people's names and addresses attached to it. That's not what we're about. There are some really great projects here, like the County Department of Human Services has with their data warehouse, that has the capacity to do those kind of things within the right, secure environment, and we are not that. Make that clear. We also don't place any unreasonable restrictions or barriers on accessibility, sharing, and reuse, and I'm not going to read too many slides back to you, so don't worry. But you know, we don't want to have you register for open data and sign a form and send it back, or say that you're not going to do anything bad with it. That's not what open data is. And then the final piece of this is that it's provided through electronic, machine-readable, non-proprietary file formats. So it's all computer data. It's not PDFs. It's not Excel spreadsheets. It's CSVs. The format's not going to change because some company wants to change it. So that's nice. So the project structure of this, and this is about the best I can do on PowerPoint. I'm not very good. But you can see at the center of this, and really what we're going to launch today is more than just an open data portal, but it's going to be the most visible piece of what we do. On the left side, we're equipped to go at scale. We're going to have multiple governments beyond the city and county, hopefully, sharing data with us. Academic institutions beyond the University of Pittsburgh, and then a lot of nonprofit organizations that want to make data publicly available. We'll help them with a lot of services and technical assistance with our friends at the library that Dr. Humphrey talked about at the Digital Scholarship Service, or Center. I think of what their name is. They're not like a center or anything. It's very confusing. Digital Scholarship Services, I want to call them a group, but whatever. So we want to take data from all these organizations, help them provide it to us in the right way, automate the process of publishing it. Put it into this open data portal that I talked to you more about, and then allow people to use it for whatever they want to use it for. We don't know what the highest and best purpose of data is going to be. The users do, and we want to just put it out to them in formats and with the right type of legal framework that they can just reuse it, and we don't have to worry about that. And so that's why it's taken so long. A lot of details we got to get right, but based on a lot of the work that we've done over the past 10 years with the Pittsburgh Neighborhood and Community Information System. Any users here? All right, we got a few, good. Just some observations that have really guided us in this project. The first is that demand for data is growing. Most people, they either want the raw data or they just want a number they can put into a foundation proposal or something they can take to the community meeting. So the way that our products at UXR work, kind of put them into 3 buckets. If you want the raw data, that's what we're here for today, the Western Pennsylvania Regional Data Center. That's your first peek at the Open Data Portal. The second piece that I worked on for a little while, Southwestern Pennsylvania Community Profiles. This is a great place to go and get neighborhood statistics. You don't need to be an expert at working with raw data to use this stuff. Lots of data on there, over 100 indicators. Great stuff. Liz does a great job with it. She'll do trainings if you want to have the training done too. So Liz, wave. There she is. And the third piece is Pittsburgh Today, the Regional Indicators Project. So if you want to see how this region compares to others, those are our friends at Pittsburgh Today, just down the hall. Observation 2. People want to use their own tools to explore data. They don't want to be tied to an interface like we had. You know, that was the only way you could make a map unless you could download all the data. What we want to do is allow people to use tools like Tableau and CartoDB and lots of other stuff. There's lots of great tools for working with data. We want to enable people to use what they want to use. And so when you get into the site, you're going to see a lot of data, but as we do trainings and talk to people how to use it, we'll show you easy ways so that you can pull this data into whatever visualization tools you want to pull it into. And we're excited that Carnegie Library is also very, very interested in being a partner with us as well. And I hope I didn't. Am I okay to say that? Yeah, great. I didn't ask first. Problems cross borders, data doesn't. So, you know, we heard about the differences between who you call for rats and raccoons and deer. You know, just think about trying to work on regional scale issues like vacant and blighted property. Solutions for that might be land banking, but if you're trying to talk about data across all these different communities, it's really tough if you don't have the right infrastructure, and even then it's going to be really hard. So you start with the infrastructure, then you build the standards, and you start talking about data in the same way. So you can see that doing it just one city at a time or just for the city isn't going to work for a lot of the issues that we have. And so one of the ways that new organizations can plug into this initiative is just to fill out this 2-page agreement that's on our website. We're going to do a new data provider information session in December. So we're excited over the next few months to really get up and running for more and more data and more data providers. But all you have to do is claim you own the data, provide us with a default license, and sign the thing. And commit to keeping private information private and publishing everything else that can be for public consumption that you want to put out there. Observation 4. I held up 2 fingers, it's actually 4. Most data owners aren't very good at publishing. Anybody tried to get data out of the city, county, any other governmental agency? Show of hands. How was it? Would you rate it on a scale of like 1 to 10, 10 being best? Probably somewhere in like the low single digits, right? So we're trying to step into the gap to really help governments become better publishers with our friends at the library. So it's not just how to load data to the website, that's going to be part of it. It's writing metadata. How do you make a record of your data so that other people can find it and use it? How do you protect sensitive information? We don't want to see any breaches of privacy, so we take this very seriously. We can help organizations prioritize data releases like we've done with the city and the county, and we can also talk about adopting data standards that allow you to do sharing data across jurisdictions, even though it's not the same data set or you might have separate systems in your IT department. We're also, I mentioned before, metadata is going to be there for all data. It's part of what we require. It's a way to structure information so that other people can use and find it. It's really important. I'm a data user. I see myself in this whole project as a representative of data users. You can see that the kind of metadata that's up there, if you're a data user, you're going to be like, oh, this is great. If you're not, you're like, oh, okay, whatever. And the other important part is licenses for the data, or putting it out even better into the public domain, so that people understand what terms and conditions to use it under. We hope that it's going to allow for the most reuse to have a license with the data. One of the things that has come up is if data's not licensed, does that mean you can really use it for anything? That was one of the questions that we had in the past where it was all handshake agreements. Like, we don't know. Are we going to get somebody in trouble? We don't know. But with licenses, it's a lot easier to manage. And so data is like bread, it gets stale over time. That's number 5. And so what we're really trying to do with our partners, the city and county to start, is to automate the publishing of key data through a term called ETL, extract, transform, load. It's really all about getting data out of one system, improving the quality, and putting it into something else, and in our case, it's the open data portal. And so if you think of it, this analogy I've used before, raw government data, unrefined, is like that little ball of green Play-Doh. So if you think of it, we want to put some form into that data. So we want to build a tool, like here the Play-Doh extruder is that, so that we can actually put some form and structure to this data so that it's a lot easier to use. Like, if you want to build a snake, it's already there. You can just like roll it. It's okay. So that ETL process is something that we're actually putting a lot of resources into. So people also don't talk to each other about how they're using data or how they want to use it. And so we're going to form data user groups. We're going to get some on the calendar pretty soon, where it's just using data as a basis for shared conversation, a series of rotating topics open to everyone. So we've talked to a lot of our government partners already about, let's have the geospatial data user group. Let's have the county GIS staff and the city GIS staff there to just answer questions about the data. Wouldn't that be great? Same thing for environmental justice issues. We're talking to the health department. So it'd be great to have these meetings. Also, it's best if they're open to everybody. Just come in, come without an agenda of your own, and just participate in the meeting. We also want to turn what's in people's brains into a user guide, because there's so much knowledge that is untapped in people's heads about how they've used data, whether they're in government, people like me that have worked with it for 10 years, or somebody in a neighborhood that's just tried to use it for the first time. Having this community process to document this data is going to be really important. We also have built-in feedback mechanisms into the data portal. So this isn't a formal request for data, but it is saying that, hey, I have a question about this data set. Can you answer it for me? Or I really love this data set. And I think Joanne at the county knows what data set this is, right?
Oh, yeah.
I have my favorite.
Dog license.
Dog licenses, yeah. Seriously. So that I actually put that on a comment this morning. And then we also have a process to informally request data. This is not a right-to-know request. It's not a formal request, but it's something that we can put onto our partners' agendas and say, hey, we'd love to have this data. Can you make it available? And there is county data, but this is my official request to the city saying, can we get city dog licenses? Because then I can know what the most popular name of dogs is across the entire county, not have that donut hole in the middle. Can we make that happen?
Do you want dog licenses? God, you can.
And then information infrastructure is really just an afterthought in a lot of ways. You think about information for that one particular project that you're doing, but you don't think about it as part of a bigger system, as part of serving other people's needs. And so we're thinking about that. And the biggest part of infrastructure, Matt Burton at the library has been just a huge help to us. And he calls infrastructure is all about people. And the people that we have on this team, we actually made everybody get dressed up in these costumes. So Joanne was there. Which one were you, Joanne? I was Brownie the Burger. Never mind. But it's all about people, and you can see the team that we have here. It's not just the University of Pittsburgh and the staff at Uxor. It's our partners at the county. It's our partners at the city. Increasingly so, our partners at Carnegie Mellon. So this is a partnership. It's all about people, and people build the infrastructure. But another part of the infrastructure is already built, the legal infrastructure. So I talked about the data deposit agreement, that 2-page thing. We also have a partnership agreement that binds the 3 parties together on this project. And then the terms of use. So when you go into the data website, don't be scared. You'll see the terms of use. It's just part of the whole process of making sure that the legal framework is in place. You just click through it like a license to download the latest version of iTunes or something like that. So it's there for you. So don't be scared. It's okay. You'll get the data. And so the last piece of our infrastructure is the actual open data portal itself. We went through a really robust selection process early in the year. We wound up choosing an open source version, CKAN, that's hosted on our university servers. And the neat thing about that is, hey, we're part of a big development community, but we can also just point to data wherever it is. So, if there's a website that has data, like the Port Authority has the data for the real-time transit feeds, we don't have to take that in every second or every 10 seconds. All we have to do is say, hey, here's a metadata record, here's where you find the data, and I'll go build something. We also have search features on there. I'll show you that in a second. You can download the data, and if you're a programmer or you want to use it through tools like CartoDB or Tableau, something called an API, which is really just the language that computers use to talk to each other over the internet. And so this is what you're going to see on the front page. And I've been told not to do a live demo because of wireless in the room here. So this is the best you get. So pretend like I'm typing. So this is the home page. It's live now. You can look at the different organizations. We hope to have a big, huge list of these over time. Right now, county, city, and university. We've actually put a lot of one of our reports up here, but we're going to do more of that through Uxer. So you can search by organization. And so here in this case, I'm typing the word property. I typed it so fast you don't see the cursor move, but I typed it. And then I hit search. And I wound up with 14 data sets. And so I scrolled through the list. I found the Allegheny County property assessments, my second most favorite data set after dog licenses. It's really a valuable data set. And then I have all the resources there. I have the data dictionary, which I have to go and call somebody for in the past, or people call me for it. It's right there for you. What all the fields mean, what the values are in there. So it's really great to be able to put all this stuff out there for people. And so there's your data, right? You can sort. It's not all that glamorous there, but if you hit the go to resource, you can actually download the whole thing and have it there as a CSV. Depending on your internet speed, it could be less than a minute. And then the data API link is there as well. If you want to build something out of that data, you can build it, you can make it all happen, and it's going to be great stuff. And then the final piece that we're really featuring through the website is a showcase. So as tools get built in the community, we talked about 412 food rescue, lots of different find your bus applications, and all kind of things. We want to highlight them on the front page, and you could see shameless plug for Southwestern Pennsylvania Community Profiles in Pittsburgh today. I made sure those got on there. How about that, Rich? So all this stuff's on there. So if you build tools, if you build some cool stuff, or if you see something, let us know about it. We're going to get yours on there, Andrew. And so really, my final observation is that the role of the information intermediary, the organization that helps people find and use data, is just more important than ever. There's so much data. People need help. And shameless way to put the duck slide up there again. And then we are live. So that's our website, Twitter handle, and our project email. So thank you.
I think this is really an example of the progressive nature of how this region's becoming. And we, again, are so fortunate to have the University of Pittsburgh and Dr. Gallagher, and at CMU, Dr. Suresh, two folks who really understand technology, understand the great role technology can have from the backgrounds that they had previously, and coming here. And this is the reason why so many companies, Boeing, Kennametal, Uber, you can go on and on, that want to be here, and why the talent wants to be in Pittsburgh. This is just one more reason why we're such a desirable place to be. We want to continue to build on that with really all the partnerships that we have in this room and throughout the community. So this is an exciting day. I think you're here at a time, a transformative time in this region to launch this. And again, our partners have been terrific to work with. Mayor, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I can't figure out the technology of that microphone. I just wanted to turn the button off. I got about 20 different messages sent to me. No, it's a partnership. That's I'm going to use that word over and over again. That's what makes this different than any other city's open data portal. Every other city just has taken its data and basically made it available to people and said, here, do with it what you want. What we've done here, through a combination of a vision that was created by our foundation community, working with the county and the city, and I've got to give a couple other shout outs other than Deborah Lamb and Laura and the team at Innovation and Performance that were instrumental working with the county. Two people in my office, Matt Barron and Lee Halverson, who are now with the Heinz Endowments, were the key people of being able to coordinate these efforts, and then working on the department level, folks like Director Gastel and Chief McClay about getting the information and then saying what they wanted back from it as well. So we're at a unique time in the city's history, and people around this country get it, and they see it happening. And I guess the big thing is take this, use it, empower your organization to do more, and then understand that you'll have that partnership level coming back to you from the city, the county, and our institutions. And we were at a big phase back in 1945 when Mayor Lawrence reached out with Mellon, and they created a new model of being able to get things done. And for the 21st century, it's people in this room utilizing technology, and that will change the way things get done.
Dr. Humphreys, anyone want to?
I think one of the best ways to get this message out is that every person in this room tries to use the system. Because if you use the system, you'll tell other people about the system. And that's going to give us much more mileage than any article, any tweet, because those are easily and soon forgotten. But your good experience with using the data and us allowing us to help you manipulate and form the data into the information that you need is really what's going to be the driving force of whether or not we're really going to get good mileage out of this system or whether we won't.
That's a really good point. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. And those of you who want to go to, what's it called, Hack Night tonight at the East Liberty, Y? Or the East Liberty Y, the East Liberty Carnegie Library.
5 to 7:30.
5 to 7:30.
Second floor.
Second floor.
Start building things with our new open data platform.
That'll be good.